Hello friends, hope you're doing well. Welcome to the 13th practice set of the SAT series. This is going to be our last episode for this year. Hope you found the videos and the content on the Mathletes channel useful and informative. Let's get started here. The first question. So we have been given the equation of a circle and we have to find the perimeter of a square given that this circle is inscribed within the square, right? So we have a square and a circle is inscribed inside the square. This is the equation of that circle and we have to find the perimeter of the square. Okay, so the situation is something like this, right? You have a square and then you have this circle which is inscribed within the square, right? And this is the center. So obviously for finding the perimeter of the square, we will need to know the length of the square, of each side of the square. And if we notice, the length of each side of the square is nothing but the diameter of the circle, correct? So let's say that this is R and this is R. So this whole would be the diameter, which is 2R. And that is also the length of the square. And once we find the length of the square, we can do times 4 to find the perimeter of the square, correct? We know that the standard form of a circle is x minus h whole square plus y minus k whole square is equal to r square, correct? Where h comma k is the center of the circle and r is the radius. So in this question, as we just discussed, we are interested in r. So essentially we will transform this equation into this form, and by doing that we will get the value of r. Once we know r, we will know the diameter, and then we can find the perimeter of the square, right? So let's complete the squares here, and it becomes x minus 5 whole square minus 25 plus y minus 3 whole square minus 9 minus 47 is equal to 0, correct? So I have rewritten this equation into this form, correct? Because when I expand this, I will still get back this x square plus 25 minus 10x. That plus 25 will be negated by minus 25. Similarly here, y square plus 9 minus 6y, and that plus 9 will be negated by minus 9, and minus 47 was already there in the question. So this is my form, right? I'll move all the numbers to the other side and I'll get x minus 5 whole square plus y minus 3 whole square is equal to 81. Minus 25 minus 9 minus 47 is minus 81. I bring it to the right side, I get 81, which is nothing but 9 square. So my radius is 9, correct? So the radius is 9. If the radius is 9, the diameter will be twice of the radius, which is 18. So diameter would be 18, which is nothing but each side of the square. Now if each side of the square is 18, the perimeter of the square would be 18 times 4, which is 72. So 72 is the perimeter of this square. Again, just to reiterate, this is the equation of a circle. We transform that into this form because we are interested in the radius of the circle. We found the radius as 9. If the radius is 9, the diameter is d, which is 18, and which is also the length of the square, and 18 times 4 is 72, which will be the perimeter of the square. Question number 2. P% of x is 13, and we have to write x in terms of p, correct? Now what is percentage? We know percentage is out of 100, right? If somebody were to ask you what is 20% of 50, how would you write? So 20% of 50 is nothing but 20 over 100 times 50, correct? This is how we write 20% of 50. Same thing here, P% of x. P% of x is nothing but P over 100 times x. This is P% of x, which is given to be equal to 13. So this is what is given. P over 100 x is equal to 13. All we got to do is to write x in terms of p. obviously we can do cross multiplication, right? And we get px is equal to 13 times 100, and then we divide both sides by p to get x, and which is x is equal to 1300 over p. So this is x in terms of p, right? Again, pretty straightforward. P in terms of x, p over 100x is equal to 13, and then we are writing x in terms of p. Question number 3. So we have a circle with center O, and the coordinates of that center is -1, 1. So O is the center of the circle, and the coordinates of O are -1, 1. And there is a point 4, -3 on the circle, right? This point here, and we draw a tangent through this point. And let's say that the tangent is called as t, and we have to find the x-intercept of tangent. So basically we have to find this point here, right? Pretty straightforward in the sense that, okay, we have this coordinate of the center, we have the coordinate of this point, we can find the slope of this line, right? So this radius, we can find the slope of this line, right? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The slope of this line comes out to be -4 over 5, right? So this is the slope of the radius. We know that the tangent is 90 degrees or perpendicular to the radius, correct? So this angle is always 90 degrees, right? That's the property of a tangent. Now, if the slope of the radius is -4 over 5, then the slope of the line t, or the tangent, would be 5 over 4, the negative reciprocal of the slope, right? So the slope of t would be 5 over 4, right? Negative reciprocal of this, correct? Now, we know the standard form of equation of a straight line is y is equal to mx plus b. This is our m, or the slope of this line. So the equation of our line would be y is equal to 5 over 4x plus b, correct? This is the equation of our line t. Obviously we don't know b, but we know the point, we know a point which is on this line, so we can plug in this point here and get the value of b, right? So -3 is equal to 5 over 4 times 4 plus b, which gives us b is equal to -8, right? So we have the full equation of our line now, 5 over 4x minus 8. So this becomes the equation of our line. This is the equation of this line, the tangent. Now for finding the x-intercept, obviously we can put y equal to 0 and solve for x. So we get 0 is equal to 5 over 4x minus 8, or you bring 8 to the side, so you get 5 over 4x is equal to 8, or you get x is equal to 32 over 5. I mean 6 point something, but so this point would be 32 over 5. So this is the x-intercept of this line t. Again, just to quickly reiterate, right, we were given the center, we were given this point on the circle, we found the slope of this line, which is the radius. Once we know the slope, we also know the slope of the line t, because t is perpendicular to the radius. So the slope of t is 5 over 4, y is equal to mx plus b. We got the value of b by plugging in this point, and then we put y equal to 0 to get the x-intercept. Next question. We have a function fx is equal to x times x minus 4 whole square times x plus 5 cube. How many x-intercept does the above function have? Correct. How do we find the x-intercepts? As we saw in the last question, I mean, for finding the x-intercepts, all we do is we put the value of y as 0, because at the x-intercept the value of y is 0. So basically this value will be 0, correct? So when you put this value 0 and you solve for x, that's how you get the x-intercepts. In this case, when you put y equal to 0, you will get x equal to 0. From here, you will get x equal to 4, 4, because it's a square. So it's like x minus 4 times x minus 4. So you will get two solutions with the value 4. and you will get three solutions with the value -5. So -5, -5 and -5. Correct? Because it's a cube. Overall, how many solutions does it have? It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has 6 solutions. Correct? But what are they asking for? They are asking for the x-intercepts. Right? How many unique x-intercepts are there? You have 0, you have 4, and you have -5. So as far as the x-intercepts go, we have only 3 x-intercepts. We have only 3 x-intercepts. Right? So we have to be a little careful in the sense that what are they asking for? What are they looking for? Are they looking for solutions or x-intercepts? I mean, it's a 6-degree function, so it will have 6 solutions. But if some of them are same, then you will not have that many x-intercepts. In this case, you will have 3 x-intercepts. Question number 5. X squared plus 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. Right? We have a quadratic equation like this. And one solution to the above equation is root k minus 1. Okay? And we have to find the value of k. Now, if we notice, right, we may not be able to factor this equation. So we will have to use the quadratic formula to solve this, right? So what are the two solutions which will come there? So x is equal to, I'm sure you all know that the quadratic formula is this. Minus b plus minus b square minus 4ac divided by 2a, correct? So this is the quadratic formula. So let's apply this here. So it will be minus 2 plus minus square root of b square, b is 2, so 2 square is 4, minus 4 times 1 times minus 1, so it will be eventually plus 4, divided by 2a. A is 1 here, so 2 times 1 is 2, which is nothing but minus 2 plus minus square root of 8 divided by 2. Now square root of 8 we can simplify as 2 root 2. So it will eventually become minus 2 plus minus 2 root 2 divided by 2. And we can break it up and we can take 2 common from the numerator. So we get minus 1 plus minus root 2 divided by 2. Right, I'm taking 2 common here from the numerator and then I cancel this 2 and 2. So finally, these are the two solutions, right? Minus 1 plus minus root 2. Or we can say root 2 plus minus of minus 1, correct? And this is the same as this, right? So the value of k will have to be 2, correct? Because they have given that the solution of the above equation is root k minus 1. When we compare this with this, the value of k will come out to be 2. Right? Again, just to reiterate, we have this quadratic equation. We use the quadratic formula to solve this. Minus b plus minus b square minus 4ac. We got here. We simplified root 8 to 2 root 2. We took 2 common. We cancelled these 2's. Eventually, we get root 2 plus minus minus 1. And if we compare these two, k will be equal to root 2. Question number 6. So we have an equation given minus 9x plus 24qx is equal to 36. Q is a constant and the above equation has no solution. So this equation has no solution and we have to find the value of q, correct? So we have this equation, q is a constant in this equation and this equation does not have a solution, correct? With these given conditions, we have to find the value of q. Now when we say that the above equation has no solution, the first thing which we got to do is to write x in terms of q because x is giving us the solution, right? So when we try to do that, we can take, let's say, x common, right? When we take x common, we get minus 9 plus 24q is equal to 36, correct? And then of course, if we are wanting to write x in terms of q, we will divide both sides by this minus 9 plus 24q. So we will get x is equal to 36 divided by minus 9 plus 24q, correct? So this is x in terms of q. Now if somebody is saying that there is no solution, the only possibility is that when this denominator becomes 0, right? Because when we when the denominator becomes 0, anything divided by 0 is undefined, correct? So it means that the value of q, which will make this denominator 0, will be the value which they are looking for, because they have told us that this equation should not have any solution. So all we got to do is to say minus 9 plus 24q is equal to 0, or q is equal to 9 over 24. So that is the value of q, which will give no solution to this equation. Again, just to reiterate, we essentially took x common. We're trying to write x in terms of q. We get this fraction. This fraction, or the value of x, will be undefined, or basically no solution, when the denominator becomes 0, and the denominator will become 0 when q is 9 over 24. So that's our answer. Okay, let's take one last question here. 4 times root a is equal to 9 times cube root of b. This is cube root of b, right? So this is the relation between a and b, okay? And they've given us that a is equal to 2 over 3, right? And in such a situation, when we write b in terms of a, as b is equal to a to the power of x, we have to find the value of x, okay? So a lot of information given here, but let's take step by step. The value of a is 2 over 3, so let's plug in the value of a as 2 over 3 and try to write b in terms of a, because that's what we have to do. We have to write b in terms of a as b is equal to a to the power of x, and let's see what we get, and that value of x would be our answer. So let's put a as 2 over 3 is equal to 9 times cube root of b. Now the first thing which comes to our mind is that if we have to write b in terms of if we have to find the value of b, we have to cube root both sides, because it's a cube root. So we have to cube both sides. So we cube both sides, okay, and we get 4 times 4 times 4 is 64, and root 2 cube is like root 2 times root 2 times root 2, which is 2 root 2, so 2 root 2. Similarly, root 3 cube would be 3 root 3 is equal to 9 cube. 9 times 9 is 81. 81 times 9 is 729. So 729 b, correct? Because cube root of b, cube of cube root of b would be b, right? So a lot of radicals here, but that's fine. Let's see. Okay, so bring 729 here. So b is equal to 64 times 2 root 2 divided by 729 times 3 root 3. Correct? Now we have to write b in terms of a, and a is 2 over 3. So our aim is always to write b in terms of this, correct? We have to write b in terms of this. Only then we can get the value of x. So let's see how can we write the numerator in terms of 2 and the denominator in terms of 3. Now 64 is nothing but 2 to the power of 6. So 2 to the power of 6. 2 is like 2 to the power of 1. And root 2 is like 2 to the power of half. Right? So we have written the entire numerator in terms of base of 2, because we want 2 on the numerator. Same thing we got to do here. 729 we have to write in terms of 3. Now 729 is 9 cube, right? And 9 itself is 3 square. So it will be 3 to the power of 6, correct? So this is nothing but 3 to the power of 6. So this is 3 to the power of 6 times 3 to the power of 1 times 3 to the power of half. Correct? Now we can add all the powers because the bases are same. So 6 plus 1, 7 plus half is like 15 by 2. Similarly here, 6 plus 1, 7 plus half is 15 by 2. So this is nothing but 2 to the power of 15 by 2 divided by 3 to the power of 15 by 2. Right? Or we can combine together and write 15 by 2. Correct? So you see, eventually we were able to write b in terms of 2 over 3 to the power of something. That something is 15 over 2. So the value of x is 15 over 2 or 7.5. Again, just to reiterate here, a lot of calculations here, but that's okay. 4 root a is equal to 9 times cube root of b. We have to write b in terms of a, right? The value of a is 2 over 3. So we plugged in the value of a. We did the cube on both sides because we have to get the value of b, and it was a cube root here. So to get rid of the cube root, we have to do the cube. We did cube on both sides and we wrote b in terms of the numbers here, right? We were able to simplify the numerator in terms of the base 2, the denominator in terms of the base 3, eventually getting this, which is similar to what they're asking, like b is equal to a to the power of x, so that x is 15 over 2. Hey folks, hopefully you liked the video and you found the examples and questions meaningful, useful and informative. Keep practicing and wish you all a great new year ahead. See you in the next session.